Have you ever wondered what the difference is between a Timberwolf and a Forst chipper? Well, today is your chance because we're going to put them side by side. We're Machinery Nation and we bring you videos about tools and machinery every Tuesday and Friday. So please click subscribe. Let's crack on.
Tested by Machinery Nation.
So a couple months ago, I checked out the brand new Forst ST6P HD. Yes, it's the petrol 6-inch chipper. And I was so impressed with it, I had to find out what the competition was like. So I asked a few guys, I said, look, I want to compare some chippers, what should I do? And they said I had to put it up against a Timberwolf and have an equal test. So today we have got the 6-inch diesel version from Forst and the 6-inch diesel version from Timberwolf. Today we are going to put them up side by side to see what the differences are, if any. We are going to chip some brush, we're going to chip some bigger timber, we're even going to put a couple fencing stakes through it to make it as fair as possible. And also look at how easy they are to service and maintain. But full disclosure, this is a used Timberwolf and that is a nearly new Forst. But we have serviced them both and they both have brand new blades in to make this as fair as possible. Let's crack on. So general spec wise, they are very, very similar. They are both 6-inch chippers and they've got exactly the same 4-cylinder Kubota engine in both of them. I don't think you can get fairer than that. So we've got two chippers and we've got two piles of brush, which weigh in at exactly 200 kilos. How do I know that? Because I weighed it all individually yesterday. Yes, it took me hours, but it had to be fair. So 200 kilos for the Timberwolf and 200 kilos with the Forst. Let's send it through the Timberwolf to start with. Right, so how we're going to time the test is for when I start chipping, I'm going to throw it in the chipper as quickly as possible and we're going to time it from when the chip starts coming out the end of the spout to when it finishes. I think that's the way we can do it. I think it's the best way. Right, send it through. Rattle, rattle, rattle. It went through. The chip has gone through the Timberwolf. I gotta say, it's a lot quicker to chip it than it was to weigh it. What a machine. Right, thank you to Oregon for our lovely PPE. Always love it. Got the boots on, got the helmet on and the gloves. Love it. Time for some Forst action. There's a major difference between the Forst and the Timberwolf is this dial here. So you can actually turn the speed of the rollers up and down. So if you want a really fine chip, you can turn it down. If you want a really chunky chip, you can do it up. So I asked the question to some people who've got 3 of these Forst chippers and said, where do you have it in general use? And they said, about there. So I'm going with that, about there. Next test, something a little bit more chunky. So I've got some 5-inch pieces of cypress here, and to be quite honest, it's probably what you're putting through your chippers most of the time. They both weigh 13.5 kilos. I was like chopping off little bits of it each time. Timberwolf first. Let's go! Oh, wow. Chunky, chunky. Put the big stick in the Forst. In she goes. Woo! Ah! Stop! 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 Oh, there it is. Woo! Yeah, baby. Right, now time for the fencing stake test. Yes, we have two 4-inch by 5'6" posts, straight out of our farm supplies. As you can see, no tampering, still got the panelise on the top. We're going to put them both in exactly the same time, one into each chipper, and I'm going to have them literally tickling at the rollers, so they're ready to go and go 3, 2, 1, boom, straight in. Right, let's fire them both up and put them in. Ho, 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 ho. I think that's a photo finish. And what a waste of 2 fencing stakes. I think my goats would have preferred them. There we go. How much wood can a chipper chip and how far can it chuck? Let's find out. No, this is not a microphone, it is a decibel meter, because we are going to put it here on the end of the hopper and see what the decibel meter reading is, because we all know chippers are noisy machines. So let's check it out. Right, so it's all very well for a chipper being able to chip and be able to cope with the material that you want to be able to put through it, but maintenance is as big a thing. Some of these chippers do a lot of hours, major hours, used day after day after day. So maintenance is important and it's got to be done easily and efficiently. So let's check out the Timberwolf to start with, how easy it is to maintain, and then we'll have a look at the Forst. Right, so engine access. On the Timberwolf, you've got 2 plastic panels each side, which you do need a spanner, 19mm here. Nice ratchet spanner, so it will make it easier. But you've got to undo this bolt on the side to slide this panel out. So general maintenance on the engine, you'd have to do this on each one. It does have a flat bonnet, so you have actually got somewhere to put your tools. And then that slides out and reveals your beautiful Kubota 4-cylinder diesel engine. So there is everything. And then on the other side, it's exactly the same. Undo the bolt, slide off the cover. Everything's all there, nice and easy to get to. Right, same again, put it back on. Bolt back in again. Like 90 Newton meters of torque, that is, obviously. Right, it's a daily task, checking oil, coolant levels, nice and easy. It's got a little hatch at the top. That's probably where you get the rattle from. But it's got a key on it, and you're supposed to put a key in there to unlock it. I don't have the key. Luckily, bit of a cheat, just do that, and you can open it up. So you can get to your dipstick, not me, the one in there, and your coolant and everything, so you can check that on a daily without having to slide the side panels off. It's quite handy. There we go, back together again. While we're in this area of the machine, I'm going to mention this bit, right? This bit here adjusts the spout to where you want to put it. Great, nice and easy to access, but if you bang your head on it, it hurts. And I speak from experience. Don't like. It looks like a testicle. Don't like it. So you want to change the blades on your Timberwolf? This is how you do it. Again, you're going to need some tools, as you would on anything. So there we are, 19mm spanner again. There seems to be a running theme here, 19mm. Undo this plate here. Oh, nylox. 2 nuts. Yes, I can count. I do like the flat top for putting your tools on. Probably don't do the paintwork any good. Yeah, obviously a nice technician would put a nice little, I don't know, little mat there, wouldn't they? So once you've got them out, you can then grab this handle and pull out. Right, highly recommend cut-proof gloves, because obviously chipper blades are sharp, you know that. Spin your flywheel around until you find a blade, which are 4-inch long blades, double-sided, and there they are, look, okay? There's your blade, and you rest it down there. So once you've got your blade there on that level section, you'll see a bolt hole there, and a bolt hole in there as well. You've got a hole in through here, so you can put a locking bar in there. So you slide a bar in through there, which then goes into the flywheel, into that hole, which then allows your flywheel to lock in place. You have a 20mm socket on the back in here to unlock the lock nuts. Then these square shanked, round, flat-headed bolts will pop out. But to get the back bolt out, you've got to take the top plate off up here to be able to release this spring. So this spring is in the way of that bolt coming out. Once you've got that out of the way, you can then pop those bolts out, turn your blade over and pop it back in again, or change the blade and then pop a lock nut in, back, new lock nuts on the back, torque to spec, put it all back together. Right, most people know that you've got to keep your blade sharp, but what a lot of people forget is the anvil. So you've got your blade coming down, but it's going against the anvil. If you think of a pair of scissors, it's got to have two sides for it to cut. Exactly the same with a chipper, and it's called the anvil. To get the anvil out is a little bit more complicated, and probably something for a dealer to do, unless you're extremely, you know, good at maintenance, mechanics, whatever you want to call it. So let's just give you a brief show. So I need to take this guard off anyway, which you'd have to do to take that spring off for the blades. So I'll take this one off. Right, so once you've got the bolts out, take the cover off like so. Yeet that out of the way, where it gets complicated, because that whole feed roller has got to come out to access the anvil bolts. So first of all, take your springs off each side. 2 springs each side, pop them off. You've got these 2 bars at the top, pop them off, and then you've got the hydraulic motor this side to be able to take off. And then you can slide that top feed roller out. Then you need some big Allen keys, because you've got to get down in there, because there's 3 hex-headed sunken bolts that you'll need to take out on top of the anvil. Once you've taken those 3 out, you then need to put a slide hammer into the side of the anvil, and then have the slide hammer and pull the anvil out. And then you can change it, turn it over, whatever you can do to it, and put it back in again, and then put everything back together. Probably more of a technician's job in your dealership or workshop job, or if you're very technically minded, then great, but a little bit more involved to be able to get to the anvil on this one. And then you've got to put it all back together again. Right, so the Forst engine maintenance. How do you get to the engine? Nice and easy. Solid steel cover over the whole thing, so nothing plastic on a Forst whatsoever, bar the mudguards. To be quite honest, I quite like to see metal mudguards. Now that 750 kilo towing capacity isn't a problem, the whole of the construction is metal on a Forst. And you've got these little clips on the side. Unclip one of them here, unclip one on the other side, and the whole bonnet lifts up. So you can get to everything, nice and easy. Checking your oil, servicing, checking your coolant, everything's in there. And then for full maintenance, you can obviously take the gas strut off and fold it right back over, so you can get to everything that's in there. Nice and easy. You're straight in onto your belts right here, everything's really accessible, and you can get into the top of the engine. There isn't too many obstructions. Great feature, really, really nice. Simple. Also, that bonnet is very aerodynamic. You know, your wind behind your vehicle going up through, everything's flowing in the right direction. I like that. It's a nice feature. Blade access on a Forst. Pop your bonnet up, access cover here, 2 bolts, 2 19mm bolts, which you just undo them fairly easily. There we go, nice weir of spanners. Put the back in your pocket. All right, to be fair, nice flat area up here. Put your tools again if you need to, with your bolts. There we are. Pop round the other side. Don't put your bolts there, you'll see why. Then grab your chute, pull that over here. There it is, it's open. So once you've taken your 2 bolts out, pulled up your cover, you can access your flywheel really easily. You can pull the flywheel round to access your blade, which is right there in front of you, very easy to get to. And on a Forst chipper, compared to the Timberwolf, is 2 8-inch blades on here rather than 2 4-inch blades. Whereas on the Timberwolf, you've got 2 4-inch step blades, so you're sort of getting 1 cut per bit every other revolution. Whereas with this one, you're getting 2 full wide cuts every time that blade's hitting the timber. All you've got to do on here, again, they're square shanked bolts, 2 nuts. Undo your nuts, pop them off, pull your shank bolts out, take your blades out, turn your blades around, sharpen new blades, whatever you're doing, and then pop them back in again, do them back up, close your cover, 2 bolts in, easy. Right, so I'm going to stress again how important it is to keep up with your anvil and change it and turn it and everything you need to do. And it's no different on the Forst, but this is such a great design, fantastic design. To take the anvil off on a Forst, you've got a 90mm bolt, which you'll need a socket for rather than a spanner. Take the bolt out, take the locking plate out, have your slide hammer, screw your slide hammer on and pull out your anvil. Done. Turn your anvil over, put it back in or replace it. Put the locking plate back on and put your bolt in. Simple as that. Done. So controls, starting, engine revs, all of that jazz. Timberwolf, nice and simple. Turn the key, you've got a glow plug light, and then you can start her up. And you've got an hour clock to the right of it. Simple. nice and easy. And then below here, you've also got your greasing point. So you've just got one single place to put your grease gun and grease everything. And then your throttle is up on your hopper. So nice and easy to get to, nice access. Yeah, just simple, easy, robust, how everyone knows how to use it. There's a little bit more going on with the Forst because you've got this digital display here. So when you turn the key on, it goes through a sort of warming up process. So it goes as these dots going along, and once the dots get to the end, that means you can start your machine. It's nice because it tells you it's going through its processes. What it's doing is just checking that the whole system's okay. Because on this display, it will bring you up readings. So there's a problem with the machine, it will give you a code pointing you towards where the problem is, which for backup purposes is great because you can say, hello, Mr. Technician on the other end of the phone, I've got code S345292. What's the problem? And he goes, mate, it's not hitched up, you know, or whatever. And I think that's a great system to have. Some people don't like going down the computerized route, but it's got it on. It's the way everything is going. You're seeing this sort of thing more and more on machinery. Again, greasing points all the way down through here. Nice and easy to get to. There's 5 on this one where there's only 4 on the Timberwolf, so I'm not going to follow them around to see where they're going. Also, you've got your speed control dial here for your feed rollers, so you can control them up and down for smaller chip, bigger chip, faster chipping, slower chipping. It's nice to have that. I think it's a great feature. And bearing in mind, on the fencing stake tests we've done just now, we had this turned down so the feed rollers were going exactly the same speed as it was on the Timberwolf, because we thought that was only fair. Whereas you could have turned it right up and those feed rollers could have been going wee really fast, but they weren't. Throttle on the right hand side, there, down low, up high, it's all there. Feed roller controls, oh yes, to make them go forwards and obviously reverse if you need to. And they are on here. On the Timberwolf, you've got these buttons here, which seem quite solid and quite robust. Tell us in the comments if you have any comments on either of these machines on how you think they work. What I don't like is this sort of baggy wiring, this sort of wiring sticking out. I feel if you're going down a track or something, you know, most of the time where these chippers are going are, you know, can be places where there's going to be lots of overgrown stuff and everything, and I feel they could just get snagged. I don't know, is that a thing? Let me know in the comments. Whereas I'm a massive fan of the Forst buttons. They're smooth, they're round, they don't have anything protruding from them, and you just touch them. And when I first saw them, I thought, oh, that looks a bit of a gimmick. But apparently, right, these are from the London Underground. So if you go on the London Underground, or you're a Londoner, then you probably recognise them anyway, because that's what you used to stop and start the trains, or open the doors, or whatever, something like that. And nice and easy. No wires, no cabling. Just looks like it, just great, like it. So the biggest question, are you team Timberwolf or are you team Forst? We've had a look at the machines, put some timber through them, and to be quite honest, very similar results when it comes to actually doing what they're designed for doing. But when it comes to sort of the maintenance side of things, the Forst, that is just so easy to maintain. And the easier things are to maintain, the more likely people are to maintain them. And trust me, I speak from experience. The Timberwolf, great chipper, design, robust, it's all there. The Forst has got some great features on it, so much of a muchness, but let us know in the comments whether you're Team Timberwolf or Team Forst. We're Machinery Nation and we bring you videos every Tuesday and Friday all about tools and machinery, so please make sure you're subscribed and click that like button if you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, we'll see you in the next one. Cheerio!